Welcome in, everybody. I'm going to give you guys some time to come into the room. I'll let you guys come on in here as we get started. Hopefully everybody's having a great day. Let y'all come on in here, man. I'm gonna be getting started soon. Come on in, come on in. Make sure y'all send a comment when y'all get in here. Rise to Unita. Welcome in. Today we're talking about seeing the scriptures, seeing the sun in the scriptures, okay? This live is going to be very insightful for those of you who don't really understand how to read the Bible. It's going to be very enlightening for you, I promise you. Welcome in, Sakona. It says, welcome forward. Sakona in the house. Absolutely. Yeah. How's everybody been too, by the way? I hope everybody's been well. I really do. I really do. I'm really turned up about this message today. I've been getting a lot of messages from you guys encouraging me to keep going. So I think that's just what I'm going to do. Welcome in, Demetria. Peace, I'm chosen. Welcome in. Beverly says, my first time here, ready to learn something new. Okay, Beverly, dope. Good. Sakona, doing well, brother. Hope you and the Rise fam as well. I am. Thank you. We are. Well, I'm chosen says, peace to Jamie and Lacey. That's dope. You guys can come up on the panel today, just request. I dropped a link and things like that. Let me get through some of the message until where I believe we're enough into where it's starting to click. And I'll start bringing you guys in from there. So today, guys, I titled this message, Seeing the Sun in the Scriptures, right? And as you guys can see, I have it capitalized, S-U-N, seeing the sun in the scriptures. What I've been submitting to you guys is that the Bible is a sun book written to map the sun. Okay, it tells stories of the sun as it went through different constellations, and it gives beautiful literary narratives to those stories. Of course, when you're given that book and you're taught that it's the holy word of God and it's the infallible truth of God, the Holy Bible, you read it differently. And so for years, guys, we've been reading this book as if it's talking about a man. It is not. It is talking about the sun. Okay. And so before we really get started on the Bible, I believe that it's very important that we know thyself. Okay. Now, we don't actually know who we are, right? We don't know who we are as a people. And so I know we're lost there. But let's talk about understanding maybe the world outside of us. Do we even understand the thing that we live off of, that sits in the sky every day, that we absorb and observe every single day? And if you understood thyself, which is the outside world and your inside world, you would never be duped with religion. Now, I keep quoting the guy that said, it is never an easy way to tell someone that they have devoted their entire life to a folly. And I'm trying to come at you guys without saying it's a folly. I'm trying to leave that up to you guys to decide. And so I'm going to keep that there because I don't want to cause an offense to you guys, because the truth is already offensive. It already is, man. People already have their mind made up, their acceptance, belief made up. And so when you try and give them something they can work with, something true, something righteous, if it takes them away from what they've already submitted their critical thinking to, you're going to get a fight. And it just is what it is. Okay. Sakona says, come through with that message, brother. We lack identity. Absolutely, we do. Here's what I want you guys to do for me. I want you guys to help me teach this lesson today because we want these things remembered. Okay. First, we're going to start off talking about just the sun as it is. Okay. And then we'll read the scriptures. So first, we observe the sun. This is before we ever had a religion to go with it. Before we ever had understanding, we had to watch the sun for understanding before we could build religions off of it, turns of phrases off of it, and literally base our life off of this sun that sits in our celestial body, right? So let's start with the sun, just like our people did, just like our ancestors did. We started with the sun, not religion. Now, while we were born, seeing this sun every day, we started with religion because we didn't observe this sun with a thinking eye. With an observant eye. We didn't. We listened to our parents, though. Okay. So with no further ado, let's begin talking about the sun. Okay. So I'm going to set the tone by talking about just the basics around the sun. Okay. First of all, peace and power to all of you guys. Welcome to today's unveiling, seeing the sun in the scriptures. This is not just a teaching. This is a remembering, right? Because before the Bible was printed, the sky was already preaching, guys. Today, I'm going to show you that many of the most sacred stories in the Bible are not historical records. They are celestial revelations. They are stories of the sun's journey across the sky, through the seasons, through the zodiac, through life and death, and back again. Okay? So, the sun. Now, let's talk about the sun's movement through time, okay? Now, I want you guys to help me out here. As I give you guys these numbers, I want you guys to type it in the comments for me so we can have this remembered, all right? So, the sun, we're going to start from its smallest increment that we notice, okay? Let's look at the sun's path, not in myth, but in nature. I hope your fingers are ready, okay? I want you guys, as many of you guys typing in what I'm saying, even if it's repetitive, I just want this into your mind. So whenever we read the scriptures, we'll still be able to refer to these numbers that's up here. Okay. Because you can see I ain't making this up. Okay. So let's go. Day and night. Okay. Write down day and night and put 2. Day and night equals 2. Write that down because we know that the sun goes through day and night, right? In one day. In one day, it goes through 2 cycles, day and night. So we're going to put 2 as it's 2 there. Day and night. Day and night equals 2. Put that in, family. Come on, y'all. Thank you so much, Sakona. Okay. So we have the day and night, which equals 2. Now, what's next, family? The sun moves, gives you day and night 7 days a week, right? So put 1 week equals 7. So the sun moves in increments, day and night, which is going to be 2 because there's 2 suggestions of time, day and night, and it's in one day. You get a day and night each day. And you got 7 days a week that the sun does this, right? It cycles 7 days a week. It comes back around every 7 days and does the same thing, correct? So put a week, 7 days, or a week equals 7. Thank you, Sakona. Thank you, Nita. Thank you, Queen's Quarters. Next, it travels through 4 seasons. Let's go in order. A month. So put 1 month equals 30 days. Okay. You guys know that each month is not exactly 30 days, but you will see exactly why I'm showing you guys this. Okay. Because that was changed. Okay. So each month, 30 days. 1 month, 30 days, family. Thank you so much, Nita M. All right. Now we're going to go 3 months per season. 3 months, put a season equals 3 months. 1 season equals 3 months. Put that. One season equals 3 months. Okay. And there's 4 seasons equals 1 year. Go ahead. 4 seasons equals 1 year. Thank you so much, Queen's Quarters. Now, 12 months equals 1 year. 12 months equals 1 year. Thank you so much, Sakona. You guys are on it. Trey Finesse, peace to you, King. Peace to you. $12 months equals 1 year. Come on, guys. Okay, now type this in. The sun travels at a 360-degree arc. Type that in. The sun travels at a 360-degree arc. Write that in. The sun travels at a 360-degree arc. It's not a perfect circle, it's an arc. Jamie, that's 369 degree. That's incorrect. I'm gonna delete that one. Look, you already did it. No, you didn't. Let me delete it. No, maybe you already have. I know it's a typo. All right. 360-degree arc, okay? Now, we know it wouldn't even let me delete it either, but it travels around a 360-degree arc. We know that. Now, type this. In each zodiac, the sun is at 30 degrees. This is how it goes on a 360-degree arc. In each house, which is 12, it is at 30 degrees. When you multiply 12 times 30, you get 360. So, but it goes through every house at 30 degrees. Type that. The sun goes through every house at 30 degrees. And I mean zodiacal house. If you want to type in zodiacal house, that's perfectly fine. That's even better if you have the time. The sun goes through each zodiacal house at 30 degrees. This is every time, okay? Know thyself. We're learning the sun outside of us first. It goes through each house at 30 degrees. Okay, now we're going to stop here for a second. I want you guys to notice something. Notice here. Okay. We got a day, which I told you was night and day, which is 2. Now, I want you guys to write in 24 hours in a day. 24 hours in a day. 24 hours in a day. Okay, 24 hours in a day. 24 hours equals 1 day. Thank you so much. Now, let's do something here. Let's see if you guys have noticed this trend here. Now, a day is 24 hours, okay? Using numerology, that is 6. 1 day is 24 hours. Using numerology, that is 6. Okay. 12 days a year. 12 months a year, the sun rotates. That is 3. Because 1 plus 2 is 3. If you guys know numerology, you always add the numbers to get your lowest singular number. Okay. Unless the number is 11 or 22. It goes through at 30 degrees. That's 3. These are all multiples of 3. It travels at 360 degrees, 30 degrees through each arc. As you can see, this is all multiples of 3, except for this 4 seasons a year. But when you multiply that by the 3 seasons per month, you get 12, right? I'm hip to numerology. Fantastic. See, for some people, Trey, and your name is Trey, which is 3, which is crazy, bro, which is the sign of enlightenment. Most people don't have that information, so they're so far from being able to access the truth. Because if they truly understand that, it's not that the elites lie. What they do is they hide stuff. It's the unseen, and they look at it like the person who's willing to search for the unseen so that it may be revealed is the scholar. They don't look at it like they're lying. They look at it like if you want the truth, you search for it because it's hidden in plain sight. This is how they do it. So the Bible is a book that gives you truth, but you got to look for it, study to show thyself approved, right? I'm the 3rd Raja in my family. That's powerful, bruh. Hey, did you know this, bro? Your name is made up of a Resh, a Gimel, and a Resh. A Resh, a Gimel, and a Resh. What that means is you are absolutely the regeneration of your family. So Resh means power. It means important person, right? And Gimel means go, to be moving forward. Okay. Then you got another Resh. So this is saying that you came from a powerful person and it moved forward to creating another powerful person. So I don't know if you named your son that, but I think you should continue the line, bro, because it's in your name. Resh, Gimel, Resh, the power that continues to move on. It's crazy, bro. So you should continue to keep naming your kids that. Trey. Or some rendition of it. Put that name inside their name somewhere so it always echoes, bro. No matter what. No matter what. Even if it's a middle name. Or even if it is the first 3 letters of the name, like Tremaine, right? I would keep doing that, bro. Your name is very powerful. It actually suggests that you're going to continue the line of your name, or you came from a line of people that was continued. Okay. And I can do this with you guys' names based on Hebrew, and it comes back accurate about every time. It's unreal, guys. So it shows that there's power in Phoenician. There's power in vibration. Okay. But I don't want to get too far off. We now understand there's multiples of 3 everywhere, right? You can see it. So now it's time to get to the heart of the matter. I'm going to show you guys something here. Let me see. We're still doing the teaching on the sun. We're still getting there. But I just want to show you guys something. As we search, we're going to search together. Okay. So we're going to put, how far is the sun from Earth? Now I want you guys to look at this number, okay? 1 plus 5, and 1 plus 4 is 5, 9.60 million kilometers. Kilometers, right? But that's a problem because we don't want to know kilometers. Watch this. Look at this, guys. In miles, it is 93 million miles. 93 million miles. 9 plus 3 is 12. That's dope, Trey. Yes, sir. 93 million miles. Y'all see that? And this is what they call the perfect science, okay? That God has perfect symmetry. God has perfect balance. Notice it's 93 million miles, the distance from the sun, okay? The distance from the earth to the sun. So put 93 million miles, guys. 93 million miles is the distance from the earth to the sun. Put that in there for me. That number is 12, guys, too, in numerology. Right here, 93 million miles, guys, is the distance the earth is from the sun. This is important. See, the other things were really simple. You guys know a day is 24 hours. You know, you get a night and a day. You know, you got each one 12 hours, which is, you know, in 12-hour increments on night and day. You know that you got 3 months, which is inside of every season. You know that you got 4 seasons inside of every year. You know, you got 12 seasons inside of every year. We know all of this. But I want to show you guys what you're not really seeing every day. 93 million miles. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Trey and Queen's Quarters. Now watch this, guys. We're typing this in real time, okay? Watch this. How many years does it take the sun to travel through an age? Okay. This is actually inaccurate here. It's 2,160 years. Let me see if they got the right number here somewhere. That is crazy. Let me see if I can hint at it, and it doesn't. Hang on. So, guys, it would take approximately 225 million years for the sun to travel through an age of 2160, which is the equivalent to 1 galactic year. So a galactic year is 2,160 years. Write that down. 2,160 years is a galactic year. This is how long an age is. So what you're calling an age is a galactic year. This is what they mean by the age of Pisces. So type in each age is 2,160 years. Type that in. Each age, 2,160 years. How long is an age? See it? 2,160 years. Okay, now guys, think about this. So she says, I'm chosen says, what do you mean by age? So guys, the sun goes in procession also, and it goes through the zodiacal houses backwards, and it goes through each house. It stays in each house going backwards 2,160 years. So if you've ever heard we are in the age of Aquarius, this is why you get this. We're coming out of the age of Pisces, going into the age of Aquarius. We'll be in the age of Aquarius for 2,160 years. Age of Pisces lasted 2,160 years. Age of Aries lasted 2,160 years. So did Taurus and Gemini. So each age is 2,160 years. Now notice that number right there also comes up to 9. When you add 2 plus 1 plus 6, you get 9, right? Thank you so much, Trey. You guys see that, right? Y'all noticing this? So you're noticing how all these numbers come back to some sequence or multiple of 3, right? Now watch this. You see it says, how long is an age zodiac? Okay. 2,100 years. And here's what it says. An astrological age is a product of Earth's slow precessional rotation that lasts for 2,160 years on average. Each astrological age corresponds to one of the 12 zodiac signs in Western astrology. Since each sign of the zodiac is composed of 30 degrees, each astrological age might be thought about to last about 72 years, which is 9, at 30 degrees, which is about 2,160 years. An astrological age shifts about 2,150 years when the Earth's rotation moves into a new zodiac sign around the spring equinox. Now, watch this. All zodiac ages multiplied. Let's just do it this way, because it's 12 zodiac signs, right? So we're going to go 2160 times 12. Write this number in here, guys. 25,920. Write this down. 25,920 years. This is how much it takes to go through all the zodiacal houses, all the ages. Now, I want you guys to look at that number, 25,920 years. So let's look at that. 2 and 5 is 7, right? 2 and 5 is 7. Let's skip the 9 because we already know that's 9. Let's add 2 to 7. What do you get? Ain't that number 99? Now let's add 9 and 9. That's 18, right? Now let's add 1 and 8. That's 9, correct? That number is 9, correct? Yes, sir. And y'all guys see that. Okay, so if you break down 2,160 years, ain't that 9? If you break down 2,920 years to its lowest number, is it not 9? Are we starting to understand why 9 is always referring to the heavens? Are we starting to understand it because it has to? Are you guys starting to see why heaven, why space, outer space, or the celestial bodies is always attributed to as the number 9? Can you see that? Because it's 2,920 years, which is 9. It's 2,160 years, which is 9. Are you guys seeing that? Greetings from the south side of Houston, everybody. What's up, bro? Kev, been a minute. Peace to you, Rick. Welcome in, brother. Are you guys seeing this? Yes or no? It's funny because we got 27 people watching right now, which is 9. It's crazy. So what this means, guys, is for the sun to go through Taurus, the age of Taurus, it takes 2,160 years. For it to go through Aries, it takes 2,160 years. Pisces, 2,160 years. Every single constellation, it takes 2,100 years to go through it as far as an age, right? Now, we know when it's going in the correct way, it takes about 30 days to get through each house, right? Because it goes through at 30 degrees, and it's 360 degree, not wheel, but arc. Okay, so let's break down the numbers, okay? Now, guys, how many people are said to get into heaven? Somebody write it in here. How many people are said to go into heaven? $144,000. Thank you, Queen's Quarters. Trey Finesse, thank you. Now watch this. Now break that number down. 1 + 4 + 4 is how much? Thank you, Trey. Already ahead of me, 9. So as you can see, this is exactly why. And we know the address to heaven is 999, right? We already know this is mentioned in the Bible that the address to heaven is 999, right? As if heaven has an address like houses has numbers on them, right? Come on, y'all. There's no such thing. There's no such. We made up addresses, y'all. There's no way that heaven can have an address. Yo, do you know there's nobody that exists but God? How would he have an address? Who's going to get to him? If no one exists but God, and still to this day, if God is the only person who originally existed outside of being made, God is still the only one to exist. All of us are just animated beings. We actually don't exist. If for all of you guys who say, well, God exists all on his own and he created us, then we don't exist. We only exist by creation. God is the only person who would truly exist. So why would he even have an address? Why would he even conceptualize an address? Who the hell gonna want to know where he at? Thank you, Sakona. She's laughing, but guys, I'm very serious. Why would he have a name? If you're the only being in existence, why would you even have a concept to be naming yourself? Think about this, guys. Lastly, why would you decide to create people? Like, you're a God. You can do whatever you want to. Now, me as a 42-year-old man, if I'm a grown man and I'm going out into my basement playing with toys, dictating their life, just like a Beetlejuice, y'all would say something's wrong with me. But y'all's God or Yahweh could be doing anything he want to do, but he decided to make some people and judge them. It makes no sense, y'all. All this sin and good and evil stuff would only exist in Yahweh's head and world, because he would be making it up. He's a God who sits alone. There's nobody but him, and he comes up with this idea. I'm gonna make men. I'm gonna have a devil, and it's gonna be an argument over whose soul they worship. And now he could just go on about his business, not worry about none of us, because he don't even need us. We're nothing. It doesn't make any sense, y'all. So you guys are getting this religion, believing that it's holy and true without examining it. But we're gonna deal with it, okay? We are gonna deal with it. So let's look at this. We've seen all of these references to the sun, okay? Now I want to show you something. Do you guys see this? IHS. Y'all see that? So this is a sun, right? This is the sun. And you see this is inside of a holy cathedral, right? But it's the sun. It has a cross in it, so they must be talking about Jesus, right? Right? Now, outside of your realm of knowledge, because you think this is Jesus. You think this is some type of symbol that would speak to Jesus, right? Because that's what you think. You see that cross on there, so you must think, well, damn, that's associated with my God, with Jesus. So, hey, this got to be about Jesus, right? Well, let's look at it. Look at it closer. Hang on. Okay, you guys can see there's 3 angels down here. You guys see that, right? 3 angels sitting down here. Thank you so much, Dark Energy Star Child. Thank you, Amalia. Indeed, I'm chosen. Sakona, you want it? Look, guys, here we go. You see the 3 angels at the bottom. This represents a season, okay? Now, this represents each month as well, but this represents a season. See how these 3 here? And what you would notice is there's going to be an angel here, here, up here, and down here in all 4 corners. You only see them 2 at the bottom, but you're going to see 4 corners, which represents the seasons, the 3 months. This is 9 more angels right here, representing that this right here is each month's a piece. Each represent each month. And you're going to say this cross here represents Jesus' crucifixion, right? That's what you're going to say, right? And this IHS somehow speaks to Jesus, right? Is that what you guys are thinking? Let me show you something. And I don't want you guys to just see me pull it up. I want you to watch me look it up, because I keep telling you guys about the power of research. And people think you're making stuff up. Now let's watch this. IHS meaning. So let's deal with this. Hang on. Actually, let me show you how to spell it first. Watch this. I don't want you to see it in anybody's thought first on what they're saying it means. Let me show you guys something. Greek. Okay. I'll pull it up for you. 1 second. Lost my spot, man. Okay. We're getting there, guys. Hang on, give me 1 second. Let me see if I can pull this up. 1 second. Okay, so you guys are looking at Greek, okay? Because that's Greek that you guys are looking at, okay? Watch this. Now, you guys have IHS, right? IHS is what we would call that in our peasant language, right? IHS, but that's not what you're seeing. Here's what you're actually reading. You guys are actually reading iota, H, which is eta, which makes an E sound, eta sound, okay? And sigma. Now, it just has what the actual letters are. But if you notice here, it's something powerful going on here. Iota, eta, not H. H was later changed to H, meaning heta. But it's eta, which is E. Notice that E right there. It's eta. So you're looking at an IES, right? IES is what you're looking at. Now watch this. Let me get out of that. Off of I'm on Amazon. Why am I searching on Amazon? Hang on. One second. Here we go. So guys, look at this. IES sun. Oh, let's see here. I don't know what that's talking about. That's crazy. I have no idea what my computer is doing, y'all. I'm gonna figure that out. That's crazy. Sith versus the Jedi. Facts, though. It is facts. Now listen, I'm gonna break that down later because it's almost like we are claiming to be from a Jedi. Or like, say, imagine being acting like you're kin to a Jedi, because it's all Star Wars, literally wars that happen in the stars. Hang on one second, guys. So look, guys, in case you're wondering, I'm looking up IES, the meaning, instead of IHS, because it literally translates to IES, Ieta. So Ieta S. And it's crazy because it's not, they're making it where it's not easy to look up, which is wow. Here it is. So including results for IES, meaning sun in Greek. IES is what it looks like right here. IES is what it looks like in Greek.
ES.
ES.
S.
S. This is where you get Jesus. Okay. This is actually where you get Jesus, guys. Jesus or Jesus. Okay. Because it means sun. So you know how they say sun Zeus or Zeus? This is where you get Jesus. Is where you guys get Jesus. This was called sun, and the sun is actually who they were talking about. This isn't some type of play on Jesus. This is actually the sun. They're talking about the sun. It says sun on it. That's what that says right there. And it's talking about the sun going through the astrological bodies. He wasn't turned into a man until the council 325 AD, the Council of Nicaea. This is when Jesus was made a man. They replaced the sun with the man. Okay. And I'm going to show you that today when we end this lesson off. But as you guys can see here, it has a cross on it. And so you guys might say, why the cross? Why is it a cross then if that's the case? I'll show you. Because you guys think the cross is directly related to Jesus, right? Let me just show you this before we get into reading the descriptions and seeing the sun in the scriptures. Watch this. Share screen. Okay, right here, we're going to go right here to this screen and we're going to put crooks. See this cross right here? This is called a crux, guys. A crux. So notice there's 4. These represent your 4 seasons or 4 corners. Okay. Now, this has been a symbol representing the stars for way longer than there's been a Christianity, guys. And this represents it's not a cross, it's the crux that the sun sits on as it goes through the constellation. So it's always on a crux, okay? Always. And this is what we use as the Christian symbol, right? Zoom in if I need to. Okay, I'll do that. Let me do this. There you can see many of them. So this is the crooks that the sun sits on in outer space while it's in each house. So when you guys are saying the son has been crucified, the word crooks is in there. Crooks, crucified. That's what you guys are saying right here. Okay, love, I see you. But guys, this is what you're seeing here. This is what everybody's wearing on their neck, getting tattooed on their bodies, believing that this is where Jesus was crucified. But this is where the sun sits in each house, though. Isn't that crazy? This is where the sun sits in each house. It's called a crux. This was there long before the Bible or any of that stuff, y'all. So they say the best way to show somebody something is to show them their own book, because I'm showing you guys the things that's outside the book. So now that you guys understand the sun and how it moves, we're going to do some Bible reading, and I'm going to show you some interesting things about the things that's in this Bible, okay? So today, somebody name a story for me. What is your favorite biblical story? I told you guys your homework yesterday was to read a biblical story and bring it back to me so we can read it together, okay? So name a popular biblical story, one that you picked, so we can read it real quick, guys. It's time to turn up. Time for y'all to prove me wrong. We know y'all like doing that. Okay. I am chosen was first. She said the coat of many colors. That means she is talking about Joseph. So we're going to search the scriptures for Joseph, and we're going to read his story. You don't have a favorite one, Sakona? I feel you. So it starts off with we're talking about Joseph's dreams. Okay. Just giving you guys some seconds here, because before we read this story, I'm going to show you the Hebraic meaning so we can deal with that as well. Okay, because I want you guys to truly see how this book is written. It's a brilliant book. Okay, I'm definitely not talking junk about it when I say that it's not truth, but it is brilliant. It's just not truth. Okay. So let me pull up my Hebrew chart. Okay, so guys, before we read the story of Joseph, you need to understand that there was no letter J. Okay, so his name would not have been called Joseph back then. It would have been called Yosef, believe it or not. Yosef, okay? Yosef, if you were going to write it in English, Yosef. But if you were going to write it in Hebrew, it would look like this. Yod, okay? Yod. You guys see the Yod, right? Yod. It would have a vowel right here, vowel. Now, remember this. Let me go back to my screen so I can see it clearly. Yod means a hand closed upon, to work with, a deed done, a finished work. Yod is the smallest Hebrew letter, which means seed or potential, okay? Then there is a vowel. Vowel makes it sound like V or W, okay? So it tells you how to pronounce the word. And this is why vowel is in here. Y'all self. So vowel has to be in here. Okay, its numerical value was 6. The Yod's numerical value was 10. It means a nail, a peg, a hook, the joining together of something, making something secure, becoming bound or nailed to. Then he has a Samek in his name. It's down here. Samek is right here. It has a sharp C sound for it's like for yourself, meaning protection and stability. Then it has a Tezri, which is let's see. And well, it's not here because it's a vowel maker, which means it's supposed to make it say elf, elf, elf. And Tezri should be down in here somewhere, but they don't have it there. But anyway, it's not a consonant. So the next one will be the final pe. And because that's at the end of it, it enhances it. So when you see the any letter that's at the end of a word or the beginning, it has significant different meaning in how to define this person's personality. But anyway, the final pe, which is here, which makes a F sound for Joseph, a mouth opening, an entrance, command speak, open, beginning, here, present, right? Voice or mouth expression. So Yod, Vav, Samek, Peh, the divine hand that connects, that supports, and has a voice. This is what Joseph would mean, okay? The name Joseph is a causation form for yourself, okay? So Joseph, God will increase is what the name would translate to, and they'll tell you this even in the Bible, okay? So let's read Joseph's name. Let's read Joseph's story and see if his name lines up with this. So first, let's go 10, Vav. Let's go, where's the Vav? Vav, 6. So that's 16 so far. We've got 60 and 8. 60 and 80. So let's look at this, guys. 60 and 80. You see the numbers jump to. Samek is a 60 on the numerical value using gematria. And Fe is an 80 using gematria. So that means his number comes up to 156. Okay, 156, which means 6 and 6. Okay, 6 and 6, which is 12. So the grammatical value to his name is 66 equals 12. So write this in, guys. Write in write in Joseph's name equals 12, because we know the grammatical number to Joseph's name is 12, okay, for yourself. So write that, 12. It's already crazy that his name is 12, right? Write in Joseph equals 12. The Yod equals 10. The Waw equals 6. The Samek equals 60, and the Phi equals 80. Okay, y'all see that, right? Now, let's read the story of Jacob. Now, Jacob lived in a land where his father has resided, the land of Canaan. Okay, this is the account of Jacob. When Joseph was 17 years old, he was tending a flock with his brothers, the sons of his father's wives, Binah, Zippah, and he brought their father a bad report about them. Now listen to this. He was 17 years old. 1 and 7 make 8, okay? When you see 8 in here, it means infinity. So when you see the number 8, it means infinity, meaning it's going to be a perfect cycle. So something's going to be flipped around here perfectly, okay? But let's continue. Now, Israel loved Joseph more than his other sons, but Joseph had been born to him at his old age, so he made him a robe of many colors. This is where what's his name was saying? Chosen was saying, I want to hear about the robe of many colors, okay? So this is what made Joseph stand out between his brothers, because it cost money to get dyed clothes, because dye wasn't cheap, right? And so he giving him a coat of many colors. It stood him out. It made it seem like he cared more about him, but it says he loved him more than the others, right? So when Joseph's brothers saw that their father loved him more than any of them, they hated him and could not speak a kind word to him. Then Joseph had a dream, and when he told it to his brothers, that they hated him even more. He said to them, listen to this. I had a dream. Listen to this dream I had. We were binding sheaves of grain in the field. Binding sheaves of grain in the field. Yod is in his hand, okay? He's binding sheaves of grain in the field, and suddenly my sheaf rose and stood upright when your sheaves gathered around and bowed down to mine. Okay. Do you intend to reign over us? His brothers asked. Will you actually rule us? So they hated him even more because of the dream that he had, because of his dream and his statements. Then Joseph had another dream and told it to his brothers. Look, he said, I had another dream. And this time the sun and moon and 11 stars were bowing down to me. Okay, 11 stars. You do not reduce this number. That is a master number. Okay, this is the same way that Samson had 2 pillars that he had to push down. Okay, now you will see stuff like this because it's representing the north and the north to south, east to west lines. That is the crooks. This is why you get the 2. Okay, 11. It's each pillar that makes that crooks. Okay, he told his father and brothers, but his father rebuked him and said, what is this dream that you have had? Will your mother and brothers and I actually come to bow down to the ground before you? And his brothers were jealous of him. But his father kept in mind what he had said. Sometime later, Joseph's brother has gone to pasture their flocks near Shechem. Now, Shechem. I want you guys to lock that name in right there, okay? So he went to a place called Shechem, and Israel said to him, are not your brothers pasturing the flocks at Shechem? Get ready. I am sending you to them. Okay. Now, then Israel told them, go now and see how your brothers and the flocks are faring, and bring back word to me. And he sent him off from the valley of Hebron. And he went, and when Joseph arrived in Shechem, a man found him wandering in the field and asked, what are you looking for? I'm looking for my brothers, Joseph replied. Can you tell me where they are pasturing their flocks? They have moved on from here, the man said. I heard them say, let us go to Dothan. So Joseph set out after his brothers and found them at Dothan. Now Joseph's brothers saw him in the distance, and before he arrived, they plotted to kill him. Here comes that dreamer, they said to one another. Come now, let us kill him and throw him in one of the pits. They say that a vicious animal that has devoured him. Then we will see what becomes of his dreams. So when Reuben heard this, he tried to rescue Joseph from their hands. Let us not take his life, he said. Do not shed his blood. Throw him into the pit in the wilderness, but do not lay a hand on him. Reuben said this is so that he could rescue Joseph from their hands and return to his father. When Joseph came to his brother, they stripped him of his robe, the robe of many colors that he was wearing, and they took him and threw him into the pit. Now the pit was empty with no water in it. Okay. And they sat down to eat a meal. They looked and saw the caravan of Ishmaelites coming from the Gilead. Okay. Their camels were wearing spices, balm, myrrh, and on the way down to Egypt. And they were on their way down to Egypt. Then Judah said, send to his brothers. What profit will we gain if we kill our brother and cover up his blood? Come, let us sell him to the Ishmaelites, that they may not lay a hand on him, for he is our brother, our own flesh. And they agreed. So when the Midianite traders passed by his brothers and pulled Joseph out of the pit and sold him for 20 shekels of sand, 20 shekels of silver, forgive me, to the Ishmaelites who took him to Egypt. Now 20 shekels of 20 shekels of silver. Notice that 20 there. 2 plus 0 is 2, right? This right here shows that Jacob is the son. Jacob is the son, and it's showing you that this is your night and day right here, the 2. So it shows you 20 pieces of silver, 20 pieces of shekels of silver. And normally when you see silver, it's related to the moon. And when you see gold, it's related to the sun. Right here, Midianite. When you see this M right here, this is almost always relating to the sun. I mean to the moon, because the moon starts off with mem and ends with nin. Okay, men, which means it troubles the water. So you're always going to get the water and the moon and the sun having their duality, and they always find a way to do this. This is why you got Mary with Jesus. Her name starts with M, right? It's why you got Mount Moriah and Abraham, right? Because you're always going to have this close M right by. That's why you got Martha and John the Baptist. It's always going to be that way, okay? Because this M it signifies duality, always representing the shadow side or the divine feminine, which is that's why it's mostly played by a woman, okay? But anyway, when Reuben returned to the pit, he saw that Joseph was not there. He tore his clothes, returned to his brothers, and said, "The boy was gone. What am I going to do?" Then they took Joseph's robe, slaughtered the young goat, and dipped the robe in its blood. They sent the robe of many colors to their father and said, "We found this. Examine it to see whether it is your son's robe or not." The father recognized it and said, "It is my son's robe." They said, "A vicious animal has devoured him. Joseph has surely been torn to pieces." Then Jacob tore his clothes and put sackcloth around his waist and mourned for his son many days. Now, all his sons and daughters tried to comfort him, but he refused to be comforted. "No," he said, "I will go down to Sheol mourning for my son." So his father wept for him. Meanwhile, the Midianites sold Joseph into Potiphar, the officer house of the Pharaoh, and certain guard. Let's keep going. Now, before we do that, let's go back to the name of Joseph and see if we can see some similarities here. Okay, so he is Yod. Starts off with Yod for Jacob. I mean for yourself. And he's a seed or potential. So he was put into the ground, right? Don't seeds get put into the ground? And that's exactly what Yod means, the seed. And Joseph's first dream was they were binding up grain. And it's talk about a hand enclosed, closing up to work on something, a deed being done. And so what Jacob told his brothers was, "I had a dream that I was binding up grain," right? That's what he told him. And then they went and sold him. Then they went and dug and put him in a pit, which that's what it means, seed. He has potential, right? So now he has a vowel in his name, a nail, a peg, a hook, to join them together to make something secure. Bound up. Wasn't he bound, guys? He was bound up and threw into a pit, right? Okay, let's go ahead. Then there was a shemek here, okay, which means support, prop, to assist, a twisting or turning on its side, a prop plant. They put him in the ground like you would a plant. Okay, Reuben spoke up for him and said, "Yo, let's not hurt him." So he was protecting him. So at this moment right here in Shemek, Reuben spoke up for him and said, "Hey, man, let's not hurt him, though. It's our brother." So they actually did protect him when they sold him into slavery, right? Because they were going to kill him. Now let's go on back here to Phi, a mouth opening to entrance, to command to speak. Okay, now we haven't gotten to the full completion of his name yet. We're still on his journey. But guess what? His mouth has already been showing that it's writing checks his ass can't cash, right? Because he's having these visions, and it's his mouth that's getting him in trouble. He keeps speaking of these prophecies, which means they're an entrance to something, right? And they're believing that he's going to rule them based on what he's professing with his mouth. Can you guys not see how the biblical story? I'll type a yes in here if you can see this really quickly. Can you see this, guys? Can you see how his name exposes his story? Yes or no? Now we're going to go back to the scripture. Yes, y'all say yes. You better believe it. Okay, dope. Yes, sir. Great teaching, beloved. Thank you so much, guys. All right, so let's go back to the scriptures. Now, Joseph's dreams. Now, here's where his mouth starts to really show up for Joseph, okay? Pause. Now, Jacob, he lived in a land where his father had resided, the land of Canaan. Am I reading Joseph's dreams again? Hang on, I'm reading the same one. Let's go ahead. Okay, about that time Judah left his brother. Okay, let me see. We're going to get there. I want to get to the heart of it, but I guess we'll just keep on reading on. But let's go. About that time, Judah left his brothers and settled near a man in Hira and Adulamite. There Judah saw a daughter of a Canaanite man named Shua, and he took her as a wife and slept with her. So It's crazy. He took her as a wife and slept with her, not asked her. It's crazy. But anyway, so she conceived and gave birth to a son, and Judah named him Again, she conceived and gave birth to a son, and she named him Onan. Now, this story gets crazy. We always talk about it. We're gonna keep it specific to Joseph, okay? And she then gave birth to another son, and his name is Shelah, okay? And it was Chezib that gave birth to him. Now, Judah acquired a wife for his firstborn, and her name was Tamar. But Judah's firstborn, was wicked in the sight of the Lord. So the Lord put him to death. Now, then Judah said to Onan, sleep with your brother's wife, perform your duty as her brother-in-law, and raise up your offspring of your brother. Now, guys, I want you to know what you're looking at right here, okay? Onan and Now, this is a biblical story that nobody really wants to address, okay? Onan and are brothers, okay? It says Judah acquired a wife for his firstborn, okay? So Judah acquired a wife for was his firstborn, okay? And her name was Tamar. But Judah's firstborn, was wicked in the sight of the Lord. It doesn't say why. It doesn't say what did, but it just said, so the Lord put him to death. So this is why they say you're in error, because you in right? Now, then Judah said, Onan, sleep with your brother's wife, perform your duty as her brother-in-law, and raise up an offspring for your brother. So God is telling Onan to sleep with Judah is telling Onan to sleep with your brother's wife. Now, think about this, guys. That's crazy. Cold-blooded, right? He's telling Onan to sleep with his brother's wife. So watch this. But Onan knew that the offspring would not belong to him. So Judah is telling him, sleep with your brother's wife and give your brother a son. But Onan knew that the offspring would not belong to him. So whenever he would sleep with his brother's wife, he would spill his seed on the ground so that it would not produce an offspring for his brother. So he would sleep with his brother's wife and pull out so he wouldn't get her pregnant. What he did was wicked in the sight of the Lord. So he put Onan to death as well. Like somebody say something, yo. What is up with that? Yo, he told Onan sleep with Er's wife because God killed because he didn't like him. He thought he was wicked. Then they tell Onan sleep with his wife and give him a baby. Onan did sleep with her, but he pulled out, so he killed Onan too. Now both of them gone. I'll be like, God, leave my sons alone. Let me deal with them. I don't want you dealing with my sons, yo. You don't like my sons, let me deal with them. Damn, all I'm gonna do is give him a whooping or something. You're gonna kill him, then tell the other one to mess with his wife, and then when he pull out, you're gonna kill him too. Like, damn. Okay, random story threw in here, right? So anyway, it's crazy. And here we are trying to read this story about Joshua. Hang on, we gotta finish this. Let's finish this story about Joshua. We done went somewhere way off. Hang on. I just went forward one. Hang on. Okay, here we go. Jacob is sold into Egypt. Okay. I think, hang on, let's see. Sometime later, Jacob's brother has gone to the pasture of their father's flock near Shechem. Israel said to him, are you not your brother's pasturing? Are not your brother's pasturing the flock in Shechem? Get ready. I'm sending you to them. I am ready. Joseph replied. Then Israel told him, go now and see your brothers and the flocks are faring, and bring word back to me. So he sent him off to the valley of Hebron. And Joseph arrived in Shechem, and a man found wandering in the field asked, what are you looking for? I'm looking for my brothers, Joseph replied. Can you please tell me where they are pasturing? Okay, we already read all of this. Okay. Okay. Guys, I was reading again. Thank you so much, Jamie, for letting me know. Okay, here we go, guys. Meanwhile, Joseph had been taken down to Egypt, where an Egyptian named Potiphar, an officer of the Pharaoh and captain of the guard, brought him from the Ishmaelites who had taken him there. And the Lord was with Joseph, and he became a successful man, serving in the household of the Egyptian master. When his master saw that the Lord was with him and made him prosper in all he did, Joseph found favor in his sight and became his personal assistant or attendant. Potiphar put him in charge of his house and trusted him with everything he owned. From the time that he put Joseph in charge of his household and all that he owned, the Lord blessed the Egyptian's household on account of him. The Lord's blessing was on everything he owned, both in his house and in the field. So Potiphar left all that he owned in Joseph's care. He did not concern himself with anything except the food that he ate. I want to get to the meat of it here, because I want to get to those numbers that show you it's in the sun. Okay, we can do the extensive story at a different time. Okay, but I really want to show you guys where it talks about the let's get to the heart of the matter. Here we go. Hang on. Hey, sons. Go to 7. After some time in his master's house, and his master's wife cast her eyes upon Joseph and said, "Sleep with me." But he refused. So this is the king's master, the king's wife trying to sleep with Joseph. But he refused. "Look," he said to his master's wife, "with me, here my master does not concern himself with anything in his house, and he has trusted everything he owns in my care. No one in this house is greater than I am. He has withheld nothing from me except you, because you are his wife. So now, could I do such a great evil and sin against God?" Although Potiphar's wife spoke to Joseph day after day, he refused to go to bed with her or even be near her. One day, however, Joseph went to the house to attend work, and not a single household servant was inside. She grabbed Joseph by his cloak and said, "Sleep with me." But leaving his cloak in her hand, he escaped and ran outside. Now, I want you guys to notice something. Because we're talking about the sun, you guys have to notice something here in the writing. This is the second time that Joseph's clothes have been removed. Okay, the first time by his brothers, the second time by Potiphar's wife. Okay, you always are going to see these similarities when you're reading these stories. Okay, but here we go. Hang on. I'm going to show you guys the clear signs that it's the Bible, because it's more important to show you that first than break down the whole story. So let me show you this. We're going to go to 40 verse 12. Okay. Now we've got the everything we know about the sun. Okay. Verse 12. Joseph replied, "This is the interpretation. 3 branches are 3 days. Within 3 days, Pharaoh will lift up your head and restore your position. You will put Pharaoh's cup in your hand, just as you did, just as you did when you were his cupbearer. But when it goes well for you, please remember thee and show me kindness by mentioning me to Pharaoh, that he might bring me out of the prison. For I was kidnapped from the land of the Hebrews. And even here, I've done nothing for which they should have put me in this dungeon. Now, if you notice this is Jacob. This is Joseph telling them to interpret the king's dream. And he said, here it is. In this interpretation, the 3 branches are 3 days. Within 3 days, Pharaoh will lift up your head. Y'all got to see that, right? Why 3? Just like Jonah and the fish, just like Jesus in the tomb. Jesus, like the sun during the winter solstice, 3 days will die and then rise again, right? So now let's go to 41 and 26. So the 7 cows are 7 years. Now, so you see the 3 months, right? You see the 3, which symbolizes the 3 months that's inside of each season, right? Okay, now the 7 cows. Okay, 7 cows are 7 years, and the 7 ripe heads of grain are 7 years. You guys seeing that? 7, which means a week, right? Which means completion, the full solar cycle, right? Now we're going to go to 41 and 46. Now Joseph was 30 years old when he entered the service of the Pharaoh. Now, what's the degrees of the zodiac, of the sun when it goes into every single house? 30, right? What degrees is the sun at when it goes into each house, guys? Which one? 30, right? Come on, y'all, talk to me. Thank you, Jamie. Somebody else put 30. We can't just have Queen's Quarters, the only one. I want y'all guys I want to know y'all here. Put 30 something, guys. The sun goes through each zodiacal house at what degrees? This is the time that we doing this now. Okay, thank you so much, I'm chosen. I want to know y'all awake. So far, we're seeing the numbers are lining up with the sun, right? So 30 years, he was 30 years old as he entered the service of Pharaoh the king. As the sun enters each house, it is at 30 degrees, right? So what do you guys suppose that this means here? You guys are seeing it, right? Now, that's just one story. That's one story. Let me see. Somebody else gave a different one, didn't they? Somebody said David and Goliath. Okay. Now, this one is undeniable. David is going to ring on so many levels because David is representative of Leo. So you're going to see those numbers be even greater while the sun is in Leo because, Leo is its strongest. The sun is its strongest when in Leo. That's why the ruling planet for Leo is the actual sun. Okay. So for that, we're going to, David is told in 1 Samuel. Now, guys, here we go. We're going to start in 12, okay? Excellent. Should I start at the beginning? Hang on. There's so much here, but I'll just start on 12 to make it easy, okay? We're going to start on 12. Watch this. Now, David was the son of a man named Jesse, okay? Or Yesi, which is son, because as you know, yes is the son, right? So there is no J. So David was born to a man named Yesi, which is Yod Samik. Okay, now, and that's probably don't make no sense to y'all because you don't have enough understanding yet, but you'll get it, I promise you. An Ephraite woman, okay, from Bethlehem of Judah, who had 8 sons, okay, 8. Remember, 8 is the perfect Trinity. I mean, not perfect Trinity, but infinity, right? Now, in the days of Saul, Jesse was old and well along in his years. Look at this. The 3 older sons of Jesse had followed son into battle. Now, it said the 3 older sons of Jesse. Now, notice it had to say 3, okay? The firstborn was Eliab. The secondborn was Abinadab, okay? The thirdborn was Shammah. Now, you guys don't understand how much those names mean there, but we'll get into it. The 3 oldest followed Saul, but David went back and forth from Saul to tend to his father's sheep in Bethlehem. Now, for 40 days, the Philistines came forward every morning and evening to take his land. How many days? 40, right? Now, for 40 days, now, anytime you see 40, guys, it means the 4 months. It means the 4 months, right? But 4 or 40 is a universal meaning for testing. So anytime you see this number 40, there is a test happening, guys. Jesus was tempted for 40 days. It rained for 40 days. 40 years were the Israelites trapped in Egypt or traveling throughout Egypt in the land of milk and honey. Anytime you see 40, it means a great test is happening, okay? It's a fact, all right? So let's get into it. Okay, let's go to verse 1. And chapter 1, verse 11. And I think okay, hang on. On hearing the words of the Philistines, Saul and the Israelites were dismayed, made greatly afraid. Where was I? 3 orders, something on for 40 days and 40 nights. Okay, every morning and evening to take his hand. One day, Jesse told his son David, take this ephah of roasted grain and these 10 loaves of bread. 10. Again, 10 traces back to 1, which means beginning. Okay. And again, in a day, we have the sun does move in 1 day increments, right? So 10 loaves of bread for your brothers to hurry to their camp. Take also 10 portions of the cheese of the commander of the unit. Check on the welfare of your brothers and bring back an assurance from them, which are with Saul and those men of Israel in the valley of Elah fighting against the Philistines. Okay. One second. Make sure I'm reading that right. Well, I want to read the KJV so it can be exact. One second.
Yeah, they gathered. It's not. It's something.
Looking for something, guys. 1 second. Okay, I'm just going to start reading from the beginning because I missed so much. Okay, so here we go. Here we go, guys. It wasn't muted. I was just looking for something. I'm reading silently because I know I missed something, right? So let's start from the very beginning of the scripture. Okay, now the Philistines gathered together their armies to battle, and were gathered together at Jericho, which belongeth to Judah, pitched between Soko and Azekah, in Ephesidam, and Saul and the men of Israel were gathered together and pitched by the valley of Elah, and set the battle in array against the Philistines. Now watch this. And the Philistines stood on the mountain on the side, on the one side, and stood on a mountain on the other side, and there was a valley between them. And there went out a champion out of the camp of the Philistines named Goliath. Okay, now I want you guys to notice something, of Gath. Now watch this. Goliath of Gath. If you understand Hebrew, you understand that these are going to have the same exact characters into it. So Goliath of Gath. Gath is not a real place. Neither is Goliath. This is how you know these are symbolisms. I would stop here and look up the Hebrew words so you guys can see the grammatica, numeric value, and their name meanings by characters. But I want you guys to roll with me so you can see the numbers that show you that it's talking about the sun first. Okay, then we'll go back and I'll clear the Goliath of Gad up. So he was named Goliath of Gad, whose height was 6 cubits a span. 6 cubits a span. And he had a helmet of brass upon his head, and he was armed with the coat of mail. And the weight of the coat was 5,000 shekels of brass. And he had greaves upon brass upon his legs, and the target of brass between his shoulders. And the staff on the spear was like a weaver's beam, and the spear's head weighed 600 shekels of iron, and one bearing a shield before him. And he stood and cried unto the armies of Israel, and said unto them, why have y'all come out? Why are ye come out to set your battle in array? I am not a Philistine, and ye servants to Saul. Choose you a man for you, and let him come down to me. If he be able to fight with me and kill me, then I will be your servants. But if I prevail against him and kill him, ye shall be my servants and serve us. And the Philistines said, I defy the armies of Israel to this day. Give me a man that we may fight together. When Saul and Israel heard those words of the Philistines, they were dismayed. Now, guys, he stood about 6 cubits tall, right? Let's go back. 6 cubits was his span, right? 6 cubits was his span. Talking about Goliath here. Now, as we continue to read, it says the weight of his coat was about 5,000 shekels. So have you guys ever heard of phi? It means the perfect ratio, 10. We have 5 fingers on each hand, 5 fingers on each feet, coming back to 10, the perfect 5, meaning perfect balance, guys. So anytime you read and see 5 in the Bible, you're still talking about the sun. It's still related to the sun. Okay. So 5, it said it's 5. Okay, the coat was 5,000 shekels of brass, and it says that his spear's head weighed 600 shekels. So all these numbers are related to the sun. Okay, which is proof Goliath is representation of the sun. Let me show you. Give me Goliath and Gad in its Hebraic forms using gematria. Give me the numeric value, all that. Thank you. Who can tell me the first letter in Goliath based on the Hebraic coding? Who can tell me? I'm gonna see who all has been really here and learning and growing. What's the first Hebraic symbol in Goliath and Gad? Which one? I'm gonna see who's right. And Stack right. I will drop you the link if you want to come up. I know you said you had some information on this, some knowledge on this. I think I saw that in my message on my post. So So let me know if you want to come up in a little while. I'm just going to tell you guys. The first sounding. Okay, you're right. Gimel. Jamie, you're right. Gimel. So let's look at Gimel. What does Gimel mean? Gimel mean a camel, something lifted up, like a camel rising from its knees. Self, will, or pride. Camel, something that's on a journey, something that's been lifted up, something that's on the move. That's what Gimel means. Then he has a Lamed in his name. Lamed, guys, over here is the tallest Hebrew character. So whenever you see Lamed, it means someone who is tall or someone who is lifted up through their knowledge. A staff, a cattle goad, a rod to control, pride, urge to move forward, go toward, because someone, you use a staff to make sheep go forward, right? To cattle goad. But someone tall is someone you look up to that you would be likely to listen to, who you would follow, right? Coining the term, I look up to you, meaning that taller people are more inspiring and motivational to others based on how people look up to them. So Lamed, the tallest letter of the alphabet, is in Goliath's name. So Lamed. So Gimel, Lamed, Ayath, Goliath, which means Yod, which means the smallest one right here. The smallest one is Yod, which has numeric value of 10. You see it to the left, down 2. That sound makes it sound Y or I, Goliath, okay? It's a hand closing on to work, deed done, finished work. Now, his name ends in a tav. The TH sound makes tav. Notice here at the bottom, tav, having a numerical value of 400, it goes th, making a th sound or t sound. So a mark, a sign, an X, a cross or ownership to seal a covenant, to join two things together that last. This is what Goliath's name means. Here's Goliath's number value meanings, okay? So Gimel, 3, Lamed, 30, Yod, 10, Tav, 400, making it 443 years, 443 as far as the gematria numerical value, okay? So that means that number is going to be 11. Now, you know, it's crazy. Okay, that number's 11. Now, watch this. Let's look at Gad now, where Goliath is from. Again, Gimel, which is here, something moving, lifted up like a camel. Burden bearer is what Gimel actually is, because it's a camel that has a big hump on its back that's carrying something for someone else, right? Okay, then Dalit means door. So Gad, its name ends in a D. Gad, da. So you go to a Dalit here, and the Dalit is right here, Dalith. Anything that sounds with D, duh. And so it says a door, a path, a way of life. Okay, so that number is 7. 7 when you add them up. Dalith is 4 and Gimel is still 3. So that number will come up to 7, which means completion. So Gad means completion. So he come up out of the city of Gad. Okay. Now this is the sun cycling coming up. Now watch this. So Goliath, let me pull up the bigger one. Now I want you guys to notice this. Goliath, okay, it says, and there went out a champion of the camp of the Philistines named Goliath of Gath, whose height was 6 cubits. Now it's telling you this. Goliath, if you know what you're looking at, you know Goliath represents 2, because his grammatical number comes back to 2, right? Or 11, which is a master number. So we know that the crooks, the son of its crooks, 11, which is 1 and 1, it starts a new day because it's coming out of a week, because it's beginning the week off. That's why it's coming out of Gath, because it's the first day of the week. Are you guys understanding this? Because Gath, the numerical value to it is 7. So the sun at the 7th, so after the 7th day of the week, the sun begins anew. So this is Goliath, right? This is why he's so large. He stands 6 cubits and it's weighted at 6 cubits. 6 and 6 make 12, and at 12 the sun is the most high. The sun is at its highest vibration. This is why Goliath is so big, because David is going against Goliath at 12 noon, and Goliath and the sun at its most high is 12 noon, which is 3, right? Let's continue reading. Now David, let's stop here. David, let's deal with this. Hang on. David, let's deal with his name. Dalit, right here, Dalith, which has a 4 number value. It'll have a vav. David will have a vav. Let me pull up a larger picture. Which means a nail, a peg, a hook, the joining together of something to secure, becoming bound or nailed to. And he'll have another dalit, which means this number is going to be emphasized because it's a D at the end of the word. So when the D is at the end of the word, it's a final dalit, which means that it would actually enhance. So it says dalit is number 4, meaning a door, a path, or gateway of life, right? And so when you look at the other D adding on, it doubles the D. So that word becomes now profound. Okay. So here's what it means. Dalit, Val, Dalit. 4, 6, and 4. The numerical value is 5. So David is representative of number 5. Okay. Number 5. Dalit means door, access, gateway, or humility. Vav means hooked or connection to man. Door again means emphasis on the opening. So David is the door that connects heaven and earth, and he is the access point, which is the chosen vessel and the archetype of divine favor. That's what those letters mean together. David just isn't a person, he's a pattern. Now let's read David's story. We know that his numeric value traces back to 5, right? Let's go. David was the son of Ephraim, the Bethel Majudah, Bethlehem, Judah, whose name was Jesse, and he had 8 sons. And the man went among men from the old man in the days of Saul, and the 3 eldest sons of Jesse, and they followed Saul to the battle. And the names of his 3 sons that went to battle were Eli. Did I read that already? Eliab. Okay, I'll just read it again. It was Eliab the firstborn. The next to him was Abinadab, and then the third Shammah. And David was the youngest of the 3. Okay, eldest followed Saul, but David went and returned from Saul to feed his father's sheep at Bethlehem, and he went to the Philistines near morning and evening and presented himself for how many days? 40 days. So this is David here, the son. Now watch this. What you're getting is it's going into a new season. So we know we're in Leo, right? We know that, but we're about to go into Virgo, which is a fall. So Goliath has now reached his strongest point, and he has to die because the sun is not as strong in Virgo. You need David now, the small version, to carry us throughout. This is why Goliath is so big, because he's representing the tallest point or the largest point of the sun. And David has to come in and slay him. So it shows you for 40 days and 40 nights, meaning it's the end of a season, guys. The end of a season, because a season lasts for 4 months. Okay, now watch this. And Jesse said unto David his son, take now for thy brethren an ephah, okay, and a parched corn, and these 10 loaves, and run them to the camp of the brethren, and carry these 10 cheese unto the captain. Now again, you got 1 and 1. Now Saul and all the men of Israel were in the valley fighting with the Philistine. And David rose up early in the morning and left the sheep with the keeper and went to Jesse and commanded them. And he came to the trenches. Let me get to the part where he goes to Saul. We got to get to that. So just to be clear, we already got Goliath's height, which is 6 cubits, which is 9 foot 9 inches tall in feet. So cubits, guys, are about 3 feet per cubit. So you got that means he was 9 foot 9 actually. So 6 cubits is 9 foot 9. Then you got the weight of the armor, which is 5 shekels. Okay, 5 shekels. Then you got the weight of the spear, which is 600 shekels, which that number still goes to 6. You got David's birth order. He is the 8th son, again, infinity. Okay, 8 is new beginnings because it's always infinity. Like I told you guys, David represents the new version of the son. He's going to be the new son after he puts Goliath to rest. Okay, so verse 16, and the Philistine drew near morning, evening, and he presented himself for 40 days. Again, testing, trial, transformation. So now, verse 40, David stones. Let's go to verse 40. It says, and he took his staff in the hand. He chose him five of smooth stones. Here we go, 5 again, guys. Okay, 5 smooth stones. I just lost my spot. And he took his staff in the hand. Let me just highlight it. And he took his staff in the hand and chose him 5 smooth stones out of the brook. And he put them together in a shepherd's bag as he had even in a script. And even in a script. And his sling was in his hand, and he drew near the Philistine. And the Philistine came out and drew unto David. And the man that bare his shield went before him. And the Philistine looked out and saw David. He disdained him, for he was but a youth, a ruddy, and of fair countenance. And the Philistine said unto David, am I a dog that thou hast comest to me with slaves? And the Philistine cursed David by his gods. And the Philistine said to David, come to me, and I will give thy flesh unto the fowls of the air, and to the beasts of the field. And then David said to the Philistines, thou comest to me with a sword, and with a spear, and with a shield. But I come to thee in the name of the Lord of hosts, God, the armies of Israel, who thou hast defied. This day will be the day the Lord delivers thee into mine hand, and I will smite thee, and take thee head from thee, and I will give thee carcass to the host of the Philistines this day unto the fowls of the air. Now, are we seeing the significance here? Are we seeing that Goliath, who's represented as a large man, larger than life, having brothers too? I think it was 3 brothers, meaning it's 4 of them, which means that summer lasted for a season, your hottest month. Actually, Goliath had 5 brothers, which shows you again, it's representing the perfect ratio, 5, 5, 5, and 5. Why so many 5s, guys? Why? I want you to see this right here. Right here, 34. And David said unto Saul, thy servant kept his father's sheep, and there came a lion. Notice he said a lion first. This is how you know this is under the constellation of Leo. There came a lion and a bear, and they took a lamb from the flock. And I went after him, and I smote him, and delivered it out of his mouth. And when he arose against me, I caught him by his beard and smote him. Okay, thy servant, both the lion and the bear. He said, just like that lion and that bear, this uncircumcised Philistine shall be the one of them. So here's David telling Saul that he's killed a lion with his bare hands, right? And a bear with brute force, showing you that David is not a weakling. He's not a weakling. David represents the first day going into Virgo. He took 1 stone into 1 sling. He's the first day of the month, and he ended Leo. He ended Goliath, which is Leo. Does this make sense to you guys? Again, 6 cubits is his height. 5,000 shekels was his heavy burden, was his helmet. 600 shekels was his spear. He had 3 eldest. David was the 8th. So Goliath is the 4th. David is the 8th. The testing in this story was 40 days. He had 5 smooth stones. Okay, and then he threw 1 stone and ended Goliath with it. And it says lion and bear, which is 2. which make up 2, which means a day as well. So David, he killed a lion and a bear, which is 2, which is 12 hours for a complete day. So anytime you see 2, it's representative of a day, night and day, duality. He killed a lion and a bear. He killed he killed Goliath with 1 stone. All this symbolizes that he is 1 day. It's the first day. Okay. And then 5 stones, 5,000 shekels, all symbolize the perfect ratio, 5 fingers, 5 toes. Okay. 600 shekels was Goliath's head of his spear. 5,000 shekels, again, that weight of his helmet. And he stood 9 foot 9 inches tall. Again, guys, another sun story. Another sun story. David represents the door. Now watch this. David, Dalet, Vav, Dalet. I said David represents the door that connects man to God. And then at the back of his name, there's another D, right? David stands at the door of Leo and Virgo. He greets Goliath at the door of Leo and Virgo, the D. The Vav, he becomes the hook between Virgo and Leo connecting. And he's also the door to go into Virgo. And his name is David. Do you guys understand? Give me another story, guys. Let's stay with David. Let's stay with David. Matter of fact. For the sake of, we're gonna mess around right here with David. We're gonna mess with David for a second. We're just gonna poke around with David for a second because I want to show you guys some deeper looks into David. Okay. And I forgot to mention that David took 5 smooth stones, so that also adds it with the 5 as well. Okay. We're gonna go to 1 Samuel 18. (25 through 27). Let's read this. It says, and Saul said, thus shall ye say to David, the king desireth not a dowry, but 100 foreskins of the Philistines. So listen at this. Saul is requesting that David go get 100 uncircumcised penis heads from the Philistines. Now, do y'all think this is a real story? Saul wants David to go get 100, which is 1 again, uncircumcised foreskins, okay, to avenge the king's enemies. But Saul thought to make David fall by the hand of the Philistines. And when his servant told David these words, it pleased David well to be the king's son-in-law. And the days were not expired. Watch this. Whereof David arose and went, and his men slew the Philistines, 200 men. And David brought back their foreskins and gave them in full tale to the king, that he might be the king's son. Now watch this. The first number it gave you was 1, which is 100. 1 plus 0 plus 0, because 1 equals a day, right? New beginnings. I told you earlier, David means new beginnings. Look at here. David now went and said, I ain't going to get you just 100 foreskins. I'm going to get you 2. 2 representing duality, night and day. Are you guys seeing this? He asked him to bring 100 foreskins. David brought him 2. Now, if you guys believe this is literal, then you're saying David went into the camp, killed 200 soldiers, and cut their penises off and brought Saul back 200 penises, and Saul want them. What are you going to do with them? What is Saul going to do with these penis heads, y'all? Come on, let's be real. 1 Samuel 16 and 14. Now the spirit departed from Saul, and an evil spirit from the Lord troubled him. Now I want you guys to notice this, okay? But the spirit of the Lord departed from Saul, and an evil spirit from who? From whom? An evil spirit from the Lord troubled him. And Saul's servant said unto him, behold, now an evil spirit of God troubleth thee. Now listen, let our Lord now command thy servants which are before thee to seek out a man who is a cunning player on a harp. And it shall come to pass when an evil spirit from God is upon thee, and he shall play with his hand, and thou shalt be well. And Saul said unto his servants, provide me now that a man can play well, and bring him to me. Then answered one of his servants and said, behold, I have seen a son of Jesse. Now, so this is crazy. The devil is tormenting him. The demon is tormenting him, and he has to go get someone to play music to make it stop. Are you guys understanding this? Now, this right here is 16 and 14, right? A tormenting spirit. Now, watch this. Let's go to 1 Samuel 19 and 9. 1 Samuel 19 and 9. Watch this. 19 and 9. Watch this. And an evil spirit from the Lord was upon Saul, and he sat in his house with his javelin in his hand, and David played with his hand. And Saul sought to smite David. That's crazy. Even to the wall with the javelin. And he slipped away out of Saul's presence, and he smote the javelin into the wall. And David fled and escaped that night. Listen to this. This is saying that, and there was war again. Now listen, and David went out and fought the Philistines and slew them with a great slaughter. And they fled from him. Now, and again, guys, an evil spirit from the Lord was upon Saul. This is the second time that God has sent the demon to torment Saul. And he sat in the house with his javelin in his hand. And David played. So David played the instrument this time to make the devil stop. But Saul sought to smite David, even to the wall with the javelin. So he threw the javelin at David and tried to pin him against the wall. But David slipped away out of the presence of Saul. Okay, and the javelin smote the wall, it says. So it stuck in the wall. And David fled and escaped that night, right? So this is twice a demon tried to torment Saul. Isn't that crazy? Again, twice means two, symbolizing duality. Does that make sense? This is why I tell you guys, you're not reading a story that is telling you a historical rendition of something. You're reading a poetic story that's told about the sun and the stars in the sky. Literally. Oh, hang on. Let me come back to your comments, guys. 2 minutes in, and you was false on several points in just 2 minutes. Hey, I'll bring you up. Let's go. Do you want to come up, Gideon? You are more than welcome to correct me on anything, sir. Anything. Because his name meaning is right here. Now, are you going to are you going to attach yourself to what you was taught or what you can read? Says, yeah, and that's crazy. Let's see if he wants to come up. I just dropped to you a link. If you can't come up, just comment in the bottom. Let me know if you're free right now to come up. If you're not, we can build another day. That way I'm not just sitting here waiting. And hopefully I got to you in time. You could have already left by the time I got to you, and I apologize for that. I guess hopefully you're watching and you'll let me know. But so the Bible in earlier text says that David names mean beloved, right? Because it was confused with Dalit. I'll show you. Dalit, which is, oh, here we go. Peace to you, Gideon.
Shalom, shalom. What's going on?
Not much, man. How you?
I'm good, man. Just blessed. Just checking out the show, man. How about yourself? You all right?
Yes, sir. I'm doing amazing. You had said that I had something incorrect on David. I wanted to see where you were coming from with that.
Well, you was incorrect on the meaning of his name, and then you did what I like to call slander by 1,000 false misrepresentations.
Mm-hmm.
I see a lot of when people speak about the Bible, they throw in things that are not correct, or they, intermittently does that. And you was doing that with penis and penis heads. If we're being true, and if we're being scholars, and if we're teaching a lot of people that basically will fall for anything if it sounds like you know what you're talking about, we got to be responsible and always keep them on a path of proper methodology. So when you're saying penis heads and penises, you're being false, but I understand the falseness because you have a bias against the Bible. But I was appealing to you as a scholar. So that's what I was saying. You was false on several points.
So what do you mean by foreskin?
So to be quite blunt, I still have my penis. I still have my penis head, but I don't have my foreskin. It's a big difference.
Okay, so you think when I said penis head that I'm trying to convince people that they're not talking about foreskin, or I'm being silly? Which one do you think?
Yeah. I think is, no offense, being both, because what people do, see, they're not a researcher like yourself. People would take what you say and take it as gospel. And I'm not just saying you, but people would take things from people that they admire. They would take it as gospel as if it's sought out and it's the truth, but it's not. So what people would do is when they're speaking against the Bible, they will say things like, yeah, David cut off 200 penises or 200 penis heads. That's a lot different. So we must be responsible when we're speaking as scholars to not speak with our emotion and our biasness.
So I can respect that. I can respect that. And I try not to do that to where I can be offending someone like that, where I'm calling it penis head or penis, because it could come off like that. Here's why I do it. Foreskin isn't any better. So when I'm saying, do you guys really believe that he would go cut off penises, touch penises? You're right. I should say foreskin. But again, this is saying that Saul requested that David bring him 100 foreskins. And instead of bringing 100, David brought 2. So what I'm showing people here is that I'm focusing on foreskin for the sake of showing them you believe this is a literal story, but also I'm showing them that it's actually showing you 2. He brought 200 foreskins. He was asked to bring 1. He brought 2, which is showing you duality, that the sun moves in night and day. Now I'm showing you astrotheology where the sun is hidden in the scriptures. You're saying that, I know you're focusing on what I said about penis heads, but you said if you say foreskin, it sounds better. So make that logical for me. It doesn't make any sense for me that Saul would request foreskins, what he would want with them. And I'm not going to use the words penis heads, but make that make sense. Why did he want that from David? Based on your understanding.
Right. Not only does it's not that it sounds better. It just sounds true. It sounds truthful, because those are
why does saying foreskins over penis sound true?
Because when it just attacked men's sensibilities. I'm speaking for myself. You know,
I'm asking you the logical reason why Saul would request foreskins and why David would double the number. Explain
right.
that to me.
Well, you know, the Most High says, you know, in Genesis, when people plan your destruction, the Most High will use that for your redemption. So when we read that story about what Saul had asked David to do, it clearly says that he did that with the intention, knowing that David would never survive that feat, correct?
Sure.
Okay, so that's why Saul did it. That's like me telling you, go jump off a 1,000-foot cliff, and when you do that, you can marry my daughter.
Well,
So
why not just say that instead of say, go bring me back 100 foreskins? You see how that makes no sense?
It's basically the same thing. He's sending him on an impossible mission. And at the same time, Saul is at war with the Philistines. So whatever damage he can do, the same way that David did, or rather Solomon, David's son, did to Uriah the Hittite, he put him on the front line because he knew he would be killed. So Saul, knowing that David could not possibly get 100 foreskins, he'll be killed in the process of doing so, he sent them on that mission. Now, if Saul was to tell David, jump off a 1,000-foot cliff, David would look at Saul like he's stupid. So he has to be reasonable in what he's asking him to do.
By narrative, here's what happens in the Bible, and this is why I say the letter killeth. Reading it literally, you would say, as someone who believes in the Bible is literal, that Saul really requested this of David, and David really doubled the number. What I'm saying is, just as the Bible talks about the bears killing 4,200, killing 24 children or 42 children, that number comes back to 6. These numbers are everywhere in every story. So what I'm trying to show people is that the narrative itself is not actual literal, it's literary. So what you're seeing is a pattern here. So if Saul would have said jump off a 1,000-foot cliff based on the literary narrative, David would have jumped off of a 200-foot cliff and would have survived, because anything is going to be possible in this book. And this is what I'm saying. If you look at the letter, you're going to say, I believe this literally happened, that he requested 100 foreskins. What I'm showing is the scriptures before this, it was showing how the 1 and 1 was working, how David was representing one day, because it would say either 100, 1,000, or one of something, which is, these numbers are consistent. And so this is every single time. So I know that you're standing on this is literal. And so you're saying logically, well, Saul did that because he didn't believe David could survive it. And David did it to prove that he could. Okay, cool. I'm not going to debate you there, but I'm showing the world that there are so many different scriptures that have these same numbers pattern wise, all these different stories. Are we to believe they're all literal? So this one you're saying is literal. Ask for 100 foreskins. Then he brought 2. Okay, you're going to say it's literal that Samson said, in 7 days, I'm going to return to get the answer to this riddle. And if you answer it, I'll give you 30 coats. So you're going to say, well, he literally told him he'd give him 30 coats, or he literally killed 1,000 men with the jawbone of an ass. So I'm saying these numbers don't mean anything literal. They're a coding. Now, before we go off on a tangent, I guess debating on whether or not this happened or not, I want to deal with the first thing that you came on saying, that I misquoted David's name when I gave its meaning. I don't know if you see my screen. I have all of the Hebrew characters up here. Do you understand Hebrew? I see that your name actually has a lot of your name, Gideon, Yard, and Israel. I take that you are a Hebrew Israelite, and potentially you may understand a little Hebrew.
Yes, I don't read it, but I understand it. Okay,
so look with me at David, okay? Do you understand the Hebrew characters that would be in David's name based on what you understand about Hebrew?
Correct.
Okay, so Hebrew, go with me here. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, so Daleth. Okay, from the far left is the second one. You see Daleth?
Correct.
It says a door, a path, a way of life, of movement into something or out of something, right?
Right.
Okay, the next letter of David's name would be Vav, right? Which is here, the V, which is a nail, a peg, a hook, the jointed together of something. Do you see that?
Right.
The next letter of David's name would also be a Daleth, meaning door again. You see that?
Right.
Now, the issue with why David's name was called beloved is when they first was putting David's name out, they spelled it D-Vav or D-Yod-D instead of D-Vav-D. So it was the problem with it. So right here, you see the Yod right here. You see it?
Right.
Y representing hand, connector, or work or deed done. So this is where they made the mistake. And so the name translates differently if you write it David, or if you write it Dalit Yod Dalit, then Dalit Vav Dalit. So it becomes it's actually written as beloved uncle lover. If you read it D Yod D, it becomes a totally different name. So they translated David's name as meaning just beloved, but David's name actually is Dalit Vav Dalit, which means
Right.
go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, which means standing at the door, as you see Dalit, doorway of life, a pattern. Okay, and then you see the Vav, which is the hook or peg, so the connection from one door to the next, right? So David represents a door that's connected to another door. So he is the entranceway from one system to another. And David he comes from Saul, comes after Saul, and he's the new king. And so the name literally means that.
Right.
Does
So
that
you're
now-
going by the individual meaning of each letter.
Yeah, because this is how they get the meaning of each name. So when you're reading Hebrew, each Hebrew sounding, or because these are not letters, these are sounds, phonetic sounds, right? So anytime you see this, anytime you hear the sound aleph right here on the beginning of it, on the far right, it means ox, bull. So let's say Yahweh. I know you know Yahweh, right?
Right.
So Yahweh is made up of a yod, right? Right here, yod. Yod meaning a hand closed, closing upon, to work, a deed done, is finished work. It also means seed or potential. This is the smallest Hebrew character in the whole Hebrew. So this one is very important. It means the one with the most potential. It's a seed. So Yah, then you got a hate, right here. Behold, to show. Then you have a vav right here, connection. Yo, hey, vav, hey, and you come back to hate again, right?
Right.
So,
well, I mean, I can definitely see what you're saying, because we use that methodology for prophesying the trueness of Yahshua in His name. So I'm with you on that. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't dispute that necessarily, but my thing is with everything that people say about the Bible, because you had people, for instance, Jim Jones. Jim Jones had hundreds of people drink poison Kool-Aid from what he said out the Bible. So, or what he supposedly said out the Bible. So as grown men and women, we need to go to the Bible and read it for ourselves and see what it says, because a person can derive anything from its text. So when you're speaking of the esoteric nature or the astrological nature of the Bible, as opposed to it not being a literal text, is a problem, or at least is a problem with me, because I have certain issues, and issues that I have is just believing something that someone says. I would like to see where they got it from, and if it ends up to where they got it out their mind,
sure,
then I will have to make a decision if I want to listen to what they say out their head or not. But usually I'm looking for something that's written proof that just didn't come from them, because they're not the end all be all. So when a person speak of esoteric meanings and things like that, the Jews, they practice gematria that was originated by black so-called sub-Saharan Negroes. The Jews took that over. They have gematria, but they have a foundation for it. It's like they have value systems that we can go to over and over again. So where do you get this esoteric meaning that you say that the Bible has, and how can you consistently show it throughout the Bible and show that it has a purpose, not a literal meaning? Because that corpus of text, it covers the history of a real people, which is a real history, and it has the laws that govern those people. So how can you take all of that, which all consensus say is a historical rendering or a historical history of a people, and how can you take that and make it esoteric based on what?
Okay, so to answer your question, first I'll say the only thing I disagree with that you said here was that all these people say that it is a literal historical documentation. I disagree. There are so many scholars that say that it actually is not a historical, historical account. But I do understand that many people do believe it is too. So you are correct that people do say that it is. It's just not all of them, right? And I'm going to show you exactly how I do this. And so you can see it's not in my head. And I'm gonna let you pick the story. And I guarantee you by the end, by the time I read it to you, whichever story you choose, I'm sure you'll say, yeah, I'm gonna do some more work on that. It may not mean that the Bible is not literal. It may mean that it's more true than we ever thought. It may mean that. But the way I see it at this point is it's strictly talking about the Son. Could someone prove to me that Jesus actually existed, Paul actually existed, and all these characters somewhere existed, and this happened on a real plane? Sure, that could be proven to me with the right amount of evidence. So I don't want to stand here and say, hey guys, it's impossible that what you guys believe is true. I could be actually just showing you guys a whole different side of it. But I am not making this up, and I'll show you that as well. There was something else I wanted to say to you, but do me a favor, pick a story. What's a story that stands out to you? Maybe one that means something to you, the most one, or whatever.
Let's go with Jericho and Joshua when he brought the walls of Jericho down.
Okay, what scripture we going to?
That would be in, if I'm not mistaken, Joshua. I could be wrong though. Joshua 1.
Okay. And secondly, I know what I was going to say to you. I do respect you as a person, and that means I also respect your beliefs. So I do want to approach this as a scholarly approach. So I will try and remove those jokes and things that I do with my people, because that can come off as very, disheartening, or, it can. And I don't want to have people leaving this live or any of my teaching saying, it was penises, and they really believe that. You know what I'm saying? So I do apologize for that, and whatever offense that could have caused you. And I am going to work on that, because you have a strong point with that. You don't want to come off like that and expect people to actually receive you as a scholar as well. So
I can appreciate that, my brother. Yeah,
it's never my intention. You just kind of get carried away, and then you're dealing with people that you know and you have fun with, and so you kind of go there. But I shouldn't be doing that. I always say when you're dealing with people's actual beliefs, you should take it seriously.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt.
Okay, so I think that's in Joshua 6. Is that true? Let's see here.
Let's see.
Okay, so here's what I submit to you, okay?
All right.
Okay, before we read this, I want to talk to you about the sun, okay?
Okay.
Now, we know the sun, we have a day with the sun, number one, right? Our smallest increment of the sun is a day, 2 12-hour increments that give us night and day, correct?
Right.
And that is a 24-hour period, okay?
Right.
Now we move into a week, which is a 7-day period, correct?
Right.
Then we move into a month, which is a 4-week period, right?
Right.
Months go to 12 months per year, right?
Right.
We have 4 seasons every year, 3 months long each, right?
Right.
Okay, the sun is 93 million miles away from the earth.
Okay.
It takes 2,100, and I'll show you that as well. It takes 2,160 years for a sun to go through a zodiacal house in procession. Okay, 2,160 years is an age. You ever heard of this? Like, we have ages that we live in.
Right. Aren't we in the age of Aquarius right now or something?
Right. We're on the cusp coming into the age of Aquarius. You're absolutely right. Okay. So the age of Pisces is what we're coming out of, and each age lasts 2,160 years. Have you heard this?
Yeah, I'm familiar with that. Each age lasts a certain amount of time.
Okay, and I want to show you too, sir, because I want to be able to actually, so you can see it in front of you. So I'm not just, I know you said you like to see it for yourself. I do too. We think alike. What's your sign? I don't know if you do that. What's your zodiac sign?
Yeah, I really don't do it, but I'm a Libra.
A Libra. Okay. So scales and balance. Listen, you probably ain't gonna like that, but it means you want to be correct. You want to be, it's just about justice with you.
Right. Gotcha.
All right. Let's go here. Biblical ages. So hang on. I'm just gonna pull up any old screen here so you can see this with me though. Okay, I'm gonna type in this. See it say an age is 2,160 years.
Yeah, I see that.
Now, do you do numerology?
No.
Okay, when you do numerology, you add every number that you see and reduces to its lowest single number. Okay.
All right.
So that means you take 2 plus 1, and that's 3. And you take 3 plus 6 and you get 9, right? And that would give you the number 9 numeric. That's the gematria value for this right here, 9, right? And you would do this with every number unless that number is 11 or 22. Those are the only two numbers that you don't reduce if you're going to practice numerology, right? Are you understanding me?
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I just got you on mute.
Okay, no problem. I'm just saying this. When in numerology, this number is 9 because you add all these numbers together, right?
Right.
Okay, so watch this. Okay, so you see that says 93 million miles?
Right.
And so that number would be 12 if you add it together, right?
Yeah.
And so because that number is 12, you'd have to add it again to get its lowest singular number, which would be 3, right?
Right.
So here's what I'm showing you guys, or showing people, that hidden in the scriptures, when you see all these random numbers, so Samson asking for 30 or this, or what's the riddle to this and that, I'm showing people that this is them hiding the sun in the scriptures. The names that they give the character in those scriptures is a name they give the sun. So you can have an understanding of what I'm doing. Imagine the sun is Denzel Washington, right? Denzel Washington is an actor, and he plays in many movies, and he has different character names, right?
Right.
He even behaves differently in those movies, right? In John Q, he has a big heart. He's a loving father. He wants his child to be healed. But in Training Day, he's a crooked cop, right? He don't really seem to care much about his kids. He's shooting up the house, even with his little son in it, right?
Right.
Okay, all right, so cool. But we know Denzel Washington is just an actor, right?
Correct.
So here's what I'm suggesting to you, that these books, and not just the Bible, all of them, man, are referring to the observance of the sun. These are mathematical and science books and astronomy books. They're not a book denoting a god. Inside these books, you have all these different names of characters. They're all the sun wearing a mask of whatever name you give them in that moment. They're not actual people. They are concepts like Uncle Sam. Uncle Sam is not a real person. You know, Horus is not a real person. Horus is a concept for day. Set is a concept for night, right?
Right.
You know, Ma'at is not a real person, right?
I'm with you.
Ma'at is a concept, right? So is Osiris and all these different things. They're Anubis. These are concepts. So here's what I submit to you, that who we're about to read about right here is a concept. And so when you see these numbers in here, 3, 6, 9, 5, 2, 7 days a week, all these numbers relate back to the sun. There's no random numbers. And what you'll notice after this, brother, is as you read the scriptures, every story has these same numbers, no matter what. It's the same numbers every time. It's just the story's told a little different. And the way that you know that it's the sun, it's a sun character, is when you do the Hebrew grammatical numbers on it, it comes back to it. And I'll show you. So you see, I just gave you a basic information about the sun, right?
Okay, yeah.
Now let's read the scripture that you told me to read. And we're not even talking about the sun. We're just talking about the scripture. And tell me if you can see what I see. And I could be wrong. Okay, and it could be there and still mean that both are true. Because, you know, as they say, as it is in heaven, so shall it be on earth, right?
Right. And that's the thing, that because I actually, you know, perform some of those actions. And what I like to call it supreme mathematics, because it has a physical reality, a literal reality, and it also has esoteric or metaphysical teaching. Like, for instance, I'll give you an instance where when Moses, after the Exodus, you know, he was with the people, and the people was crying for water, and Moses went to the Most High, and he said the people want water, and the Most High told Moses, well, go to Meribah and strike this rock.
Now, hang on, pause. I'm sorry. Watch this, brother. Watch this. Moses, okay, starts with an M, a mem, right?
Right.
And the people told Moses they needed some water, right?
Right.
And he said, go to where?
Meribah.
Meribah with a mem, right? The letter mem, the character mem. Look at this in front of you right here. The very center of the board, it says mem, right?
Right.
Water. mighty, massive, many chaos, like the deep, to the come like the water down a stream. Now, Moses, whose name starts with Mem, was told by the people that people were thirsty, and he told them to go to Meribah to get water. So what I'm telling you is, when you read this stuff, it's beautifully written, and I love the Bible now more than I ever did. But it shows you that it's all in the Hebrew characters. Hebrew characters are alive. Well, if you're writing a story using Hebrew, you have to follow these rules right here. So if you are going to have a mountain, a place to go get water, where does it have to come from? You have to use the characters that have water in it, or the story doesn't translate. So what I'm showing you guys is, you're not reading a autobiography of something that happened. You're reading a poetic rendition built off of a language. And I can do this with anything that you name, brother. Anything that you name.
Right. Well, and what you know, that was something definitely that a person can look into, you know, because like I say, it's definitely esoteric and metaphysical understanding that we can grab from the scriptures. But as I was saying with Moses, so when the Most High told him to go strike the rock, it'll give him water. That's what he did. He struck the rock and he gave the people water. So it happened again. And this is what's so beautiful about the scriptures, because the Most High was able to wove in an esoteric understanding while the people actually was living their lives. And I'm going to show it. So he came to the people again. He came to the Most High again. They want water. I can't give them water. Then he says, these people want flesh. I cannot give them flesh. So the Most High told Moses, go back to the rock, speak to the rock, and it'll give you water.
How long did he do this?
So Moses went, I'm about to tell you. So Moses went and he struck the rock and the water came out. And the Most High told Moses, since you did not obey me and you struck the rock, you will not see the promised land. And he did not see the promised land. So what's the esoteric understanding of this? This teaches the two comings of Yahshua, because we all know that Yahshua says that he is the rock. All the prophets say that Yahshua is the rock. So when we see that the Most High told Moses to strike the rock the first time, it represents Yahshua's first coming on earth when he was crucified by man. The second time when Moses went to the Most High, he told the Most High, he said, these people want water and they want flesh. I can't give them flesh. We all know the Most High gave us Yahshua, and he presented himself, his flesh, for that sacrifice. But not only that, the Most High told Moses, speak to the rock, not to strike the rock. Moses struck the rock and he was denied the promised land. So what I'm saying is, it teaches us in Yahshua's second coming, you're not hitting him. You're not touching him. You are being judged. So that and several other places, my brother, where it shows us what I call supreme mathematics, because it literally happened. And it's also an esoteric teaching. So that's okay, what I would have to say.
Now watch this. Here's how it happened in the stars, okay? You're saying it happened on Earth. I'm not going to come against that. Here's how it happened in the stars, okay? What was the name of the mountain again?
Meribah, if I'm not mistaken, Meribah or Merkibah, one of those.
Okay, so
it was the rock.
Again, look at the mem again, right?
Right.
What's the number value attached to it? See it? Mem equals what? It's in the very middle of the screen. Mem.
It gives you said the middle. Hold on. 40.
How many days and nights was Abraham up there?
Oh, he was up there 40 days, 40 nights.
Do you see the grammatical number for mem is 40?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is what I'm saying to you. If I'm writing the story of Moses in the Hebrew language existed before you're writing the Bible. That's the only reason you can write it like that. So you got mem. Mem equals 40. It means water, mighty, massive, many, chaos. So inside this mem, you can strike a rock because it has chaos in it. It has 40, so you can fast for 40 days and 40 nights. It also is a testing period. Mem, it also has water. Now, you said it happened twice. Now, I want you to understand something here. It did. And you said it's showing you Jesus coming back. It does. And what I'm saying is you're not wrong, because you're talking about something that comes in cycles. The sun repeats every day. It repeats every 7 days. Every single year, we get a spring, a summer, a winter, and a fall. And every time this is happening in the constellations, the same thing is happening. So the same story gets told over in the Bible, but a different character gets put with it. I'm going to show you. Moses is before Abraham, as he is his grandfather, right?
Well, Abraham is before Moses, correct?
Yeah, Abraham is before Moses. So, okay, now Abraham, he deals with the mountain, doesn't he? Now, Abraham has to take his son Isaac up a mountain, right?
Right.
And there would be flesh to sacrifice. So God was asking for flesh, right? Not water, right?
Right.
Okay, and he was going to sacrifice Isaac, and God prepared a what in the bush?
A ram.
Now, this happened in the constellation of Aries. Why is there a ram? Now, again, you got that. Let's go from there too. That was Abraham. Now you got Moses, who was next. Hang on, no, Moses is no. You don't. You got Jacob, who was before Moses, correct? So you got Abraham, then you got Isaac, and then you have his son Jacob, right?
Right.
Jacob got to a time of trial and testing, and he laid his head on a what?
On a rock.
Okay, a rock. Now, again, I'm telling you, this is the son in the form of Abraham. It's the son in the form of Jacob, and it's the son in the form of who we're talking about now, because it's the same story told every single time, because the son is going to go through the same cycles every time. Now, I'm going to show you. Let's read this story you were talking about here. And I want you to look, I'm going to show you all the sun similarities here. And it could mean that it's literal too. But what I'm showing the world is that it's talking about the celestial bodies. Now, I'm not going to say it's not talking about Earth, but let's just look for signs of the celestial bodies real quick, okay?
Right. All right.
All right, cool. And listen, I appreciate how calm you've been with this too. Most believers, man, they be all over the place and mad. So I want all of you guys to learn something from this, brother. This is how somebody behaves when they are sure in what they believe and they are studied. And this you can appreciate. I can't stand dealing with people who really act like they firm and believe in something, but be mad. Like if you know what you know, don't be mad, man. We're just talking. I can't change nothing, right?
Yeah, no doubt. Same here, my brother, because you definitely have a certain type of integrity about the conversation I can appreciate.
Indeed, brother. We all here to build. I ain't here to be in nobody's way of their faith. I want to help. So let's go here. Now Jericho was straightly shut up because the children of Israel. None went out and none came in. And the Lord said unto Joshua, I have given into thine hands Jericho and the king thereof and the mighty men of valor. And ye shall compass the city, all ye men of war, and go around about the city once. Thus shall do this 6 days. 6 days. Now again, 6 is a multiple of 3. Okay. Now, even 7 priests. Now, 7 is a week. Okay. Now, 7 priests. Now, 6 is the number of man, just so you know. I know you know that because we understand that 6 is the number of man, 9 is the number of heaven. We do understand what a lot of numeric meanings mean in the Bible, because even if you're just a Christian, which they're taught the most basic form of Christianity, they even know some number meanings. I think you would agree with that. Right? 6 meaning man and 9 meaning heaven. I think you're aware of that.
I've came across that before. Yeah, definitely.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure that's something at least you've heard of. Okay, yeah. But you got 7 priests shall bear before the ark of the covenant of the ram's horns. Why is it a ram? Again, under the constellation of Aries. And the 7th day ye shall, again, 7 priests for 7 days shall compass the city 7 times. Now, 777 is 21, which is 3. The sun goes through every zodiacal house at 30 degrees. Now, the zodiacal wheel or the zodiacal arch is 360 degrees. So that means it goes through 12 houses at 30 degrees. 30 times 12 is 360. So again, it says 7 priests shall bear before the ark of 7 trumpets of the ram's horn, and the 7 days ye shall compass the city, and the priests shall blow the trumpets. And they shall come to pass that when they make a long blast with the ram's horn, and when they hear the sound of the trumpet, and all the people shall go out and shout shall shout with a great shout, and the wall of the city shall fall down, and the people shall ascend up, every man straight before him. Should I continue reading? Because I want to know if you can see these numbers right in front of you. And if you believe this is, I look at it like it's beautiful, poetic. It doesn't have to be 7, but it has to be 7 if you're talking about the sun. But if it's literal, this just happened this way. And so I look at it and say, which is likely true? We know we've been examining the cosmos for thousands of years before religion existed. So if you read this, would you say, in knowing all this about the sun, it takes 7 days to cycle a week, and you've seen all of the relations with the numbers of the sun. Can you see now what I'm seeing, or do you think I'm just pulling out of my head?
Nah, I definitely can see where you're going with it, and I can see it definitely has some substance according to what you're saying. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying it's not true. These type of things, like, we have to really look at is more than just somebody saying it and be like, yeah, I agree with you. These things take deep seeking out. And like I was saying earlier, like I don't disagree with you when you're speaking of the teachings that are beyond the literal writing of the Bible. So I'm not gonna say that you're wrong in that. You know what I'm saying? It's just, with me and how I pursue it, I always look at it as it's first of all an accounting of a physical people, and then it not bleeds off, but then it goes off into deeper understanding. For instance, like Josephus in his book, when he's talking about the Genesis story, he clearly says that, the way that it's broken down is, as we can see it, but it has a deeper esoteric meaning to it. And that's something that we don't have, whether it was lost or it just never was published. But the ancient people always knew that Genesis story just wasn't as it was laid out. It was some deeper teachings according to Josephus behind it. So with that being said, my brother, I do gotta go, but I can appreciate, what I'm saying, you lit me on and we having this bill, but I can definitely appreciate it because, we all the same people. We fighting for the same thing. And even if we don't agree on what we believe in, we do agree that we are an oppressed people and we need to unite and get out of that. So with that, bro, I appreciate you, bro, and shalom.
Well, listen, brother, can I get your blessing that I'm not just up here talking? Can you see that I'm on to something?
Yeah, nah, you definitely on to something. The Bible has, I don't know if people are familiar with something called the Bible Code. You familiar with that? Have you ever heard of that?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So it's definitely, some things that's hidden within that Bible that, we haven't got from Christianity or, the teaching of it as it been brought to us by our oppressors. So I agree with you, my brother.
Okay, thank you, brother. It was a pleasure meeting you, man. And please stay tuned. I'd like to talk with you again.
Oh, yeah, no doubt, bro. I subscribed and I'll definitely drop in,
Indeed, bro. Talk to you soon. Peace. That was powerful. I actually appreciate it. I think that made the live even much better, hearing someone who was educated in what he believes, because so many of us tie our faith and our soul to stuff that we don't study for ourselves. And so I can appreciate talking to a fellow brother who is in the belief system, but has an understanding of what he believes based on the plane that he understands it from. But I tell you what, this brother, he doesn't have the celestial side of it. And I'd like to see who he becomes once he sees the other side of this. Now, he could be one that says, hey, I'm going to take both accounts as true and believe in it even more. But he could actually see this and say, hey, man, this is actually celestial. And I'd like to hear what he thinks after he studied it for himself. Because I always say, don't just listen to me, study for yourself. And you can tell he asks questions that prove he's listening. He said, wait, I know David to mean beloved. He was able to give me an understanding on why he thought that. And I was able to give him an understanding on why I said it. And we are both able to walk away having learned something. No arguments, no insults. You got to appreciate that. Come on now. Sakona says, you reaching up in here, Kevin, unequivocally. Yeah, indeed, indeed. And thank you so much for the super sticker too, Sakona. It's all about studying to show thyself approved. And D-Ham, I think I saw D-Ham up in here, man. What's up, D-Ham? Welcome in, Royal D, Ma of Deuce. Welcome in, all of you guys. Sorry, I was going in with the conversation and wanted to stay focused for the brother so I didn't miss anything that he was saying. But yeah, welcome in, man. But again, he was saying that he was looking at, of course, the name of David, and he could see how I had corrected that. And she said, I meant teaching. I know what you meant. I know what you meant. Somebody gonna be like, see, he reaching. Yeah. But where were we, guys? We were in the middle of showing different stories, right? Where we at? We had 2 hours in already. I think we had a good stopping point. I think we're at a good stopping point. But again, I'm going to show you this for those of you who are on here. If my brother is still on here, I'm going to show him something real quick before we hop off. As it relates to coming from the house of Israel, Jacob is who laid his head on the stone and became Israel, right? And so I'm just going to show you guys right here his name meaning Israel, or at least Jacob, so my brother can see what I'm talking about. The Bible says that Jacob was born reaching out after his brother, right? And that Jacob turned, of course, on his father, turned against his father by tricking him into giving him his inheritance, right? And then he went on to Laban and deceived him too, right? And we know that the new house of Israel comes from Jacob, correct? Now let's look at his name, okay? Watch this, guys. We know there was no J, there was only a Y, okay? So we know Jacob. Now, Y, Yod, a hand. Now, Jacob was born reaching out and grabbing his brother's heel. A hand is the first thing is how you say his name, a Yod, right? A hand is grabbing at his brother's heel. Okay, Jacob. That means you go to the kuf right here, which means it makes a k sound. Kuf means the back of the head, the back of his head, meaning against authority. Okay, not facing authority, meaning in alignment with, against authority, meaning contesting or disagreeing with or deceiving. Okay, so Jacob's name means Yod, Kuf, Beit, a house. His name will end with him being the house of something. So again, Jacob, he'll start off with a hand reaching for his brother's heel. He'll eventually, in the middle of a story, Kuf, which is turn the back of his head to authority. That's when he tricks Laban and his daddy. And then he'll lay his head on a stone and he'll wrestle with an angel and he'll become the new house for Israel, Beit. Right? Now let's deal with Israel. Okay? It will start off the same way with a Yod, meaning this Jacob ain't changed much. Yisrael still has a Yod in his name, but something's changed here. It has a Samek, which is the S sound, meaning now he's upright. Something gets different. He's propped up. He's changed now. So there's a difference here. Now he also has a Resh in his name right here, which means a head, a person of importance, a person of most high importance, a chief of something, right? And then he has a Lamed, the tallest letter of the Hebrew characters, Lamed, which means a teacher, a staff. So Israel, so Jacob, whose name will be transformed into Israel. Is this making sense? And you can see how the name tells you that Jacob's going to be have his hand reaching out for his brother, turn against his father or turn against authority, and then a house will be created from him. It shows that he will be transformed and become Israel, having Yod, Samek, Resh, and Lamed in his name. It's all there. He'll end up being the house of another tribe. And that's where you get the 12 tribes of Israel. So when I show people that if I was writing a story and I was going to create an archetype, like say Uncle Sam, U.S. Uncle Sam, United States Uncle Sam. If I was going to create a concept, okay, for a person who would be born reaching out for his brother, would turn against authority, and then go off to deceive others, and then create a whole house, I would have to spell his name using Yod, Kuf, and Beit. I would have to. So whatever my story is, it dictates what characters I use. And this is why I say these are not literal characters. It's the son wearing a mask. If the son is Denzel Washington, he is playing the role of Abraham. He is playing the role of Isaac. He is playing the role of Jacob. Watch this. Abraham represents change, sacrifice, that hard work. He had to take his son Isaac up and do the hardest deed to sacrifice him. Okay. Isaac represents promise, and this was already prophesied to Abraham's wife. She was promised a child whose name is Isaac. Okay. Isaac means promise. Okay, now think about this. In the story of Isaac, he wanted what his daddy promised him, his birthright and his blessing. So Isaac didn't get his promise. His name meant promise. So watch this. What Abraham did, he didn't see it in his lifetime. It was promised to him in the lifetime of Isaac. But Isaac didn't see it rendered in his lifetime. But in the lifetime of Jacob, it was. Okay? So Jacob represents transformational manifestation. So what Abraham was promised, he never saw to fruition. Isaac never saw to fruition. But Jacob manifested it. This is what you guys are looking at. And this is why they say I'm the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, because it took 3 seasons to create a year. And it always does. It's 3 seasons in a year. I mean, 4 seasons in a year. 3 months each season, forgive me. They all 3 represent the constellation or the house of Aries, which is why you get sacrificing of sheep so far throughout. Now, all of Egypt, the Egypt stories, Exodus, it's under the constellation of Taurus, which is why you get slavery and labor, because Taurus represents slavery and labor. Okay. Now, before that, you had a bunch of twins. If you notice that, before it started talking about slavery and labor, and the Israelites going into captivity, you got Gemini, which is all the twins. And I'm going to show you something, or I'll show you this right here. Watch this. This is where we'll end this one, guys. Okay. Because this has been something that has been said over Black people, something that has been a thorn in our side for believing in this stuff like this. Okay. Let's go to Genesis. Watch this, guys. I showed you guys the 40 days and 40 nights is 4 in numerology, and it symbolizes the 4 seasons. And so anytime you see a time of trial, a time of testing, it's always going to be related back to the number 4. So when you see 40 days and nights, it's still 4, because 4 plus 0 is 4. When you see 40 years looking for the promised land, that's still 4. Now I want you guys to see something. Watch this. This is in Genesis. This is what it says. And he said unto Abram, this is when he was still Abram before Abraham. And you can still see Abram and Abraham is both the same person. And Jacob and Israel are both the same person. Okay. Now watch this. And he said unto Abram, know of the surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in a land. Now listen, he says, know of a surety that thy seed will be of a stranger in a land that is not theirs, and they will serve them, and they shall afflict them for how many years? 400 years. 4 plus 0 plus 0 is 4. 4. This didn't happen. It never happened. And this wasn't prophesying Black people going to the Americas. This is talking about Israelites being enslaved in Egypt, just so people know. So on 2 levels, we have been deceived. They've been quoting this scripture telling you that this is prophesying that Black people were going to be taken to America for 400 years of slavery. This is what they've been using this scripture for, to convince Black people that they were taken to America to be slaves because they couldn't stop worshiping false gods. But here's the fact of it. This is God telling Abram that this is going to happen to the children of Israel in Egypt for 400 years because they're worshiping false gods, not us. We keep thinking that we're in this book and it's describing something that's happening to us. You're not. It's not. I think we relate so much to slavery because our ancestors were enslaved, but just because something talking about slavery don't mean it's talking about us, y'all. This is talking about the heavens or the celestial bodies. And that's why that number is there. It'll be 400 years. And it says, ye shall go to your fathers in peace. Ye shall be buried in a good old age. But the fourth generation, again, the number 4. Now, again, let's go back before that so you can see all the numbers given around the sun before that. Watch this. And the Lord said, Lord God, whereby shall know that I shall inherit it. And he said, Lord God, where shall I know that I shall inherit it? And he said unto him, take meat and heifer for 3 years old, and the goat of 3 years old, and the ram of 3 years old, and the turtle dove, and the young pigeon. Now listen to this, guys. Why they all 3 years old? Take meat and heifer of 3 years old, a goat of 3 years old, a ram of 3 years old, a turtle dove, and a pigeon. And he took unto him all these, and divided them in the midst, and laid each piece one against another, and the birds divided he not. And the fowls came upon the carcasses. Abram drove them away. So, as you guys can see, this is showing you the sun hidden in Scripture. Hidden in Scripture. And I'm going to end on that note. You were not told that you would be enslaved because you worship the false god. Transatlantic slave trade did not happen because you were worshiping false gods, family. It didn't. This scripture is not even referring to that. But if you notice the numbers in it and the numerology in it, this is sun symbolism. That's all it is. It's not telling you this literally happened. And if you want to believe it happened, look up them places and see if they actually exist. Look up those people and see if they actually existed. And after you do all of that and see that they didn't, learn a little Hebrew. Just learn a little bit of Hebrew. And you will see that this is just a poetic language showing off their language. Come back soon with these teachers. I'll be right back tomorrow. We're going to be going 9 a.m. all week long, baby. All week long. So get ready, family. Get ready. It's time to wake up. It's time to see what it really is. All right? I look forward to building with y'all soon. And thank y'all so much for coming out and sitting with me and staying the whole time and actually being interactive in here. Thank you, guys. Peace to you all. I'll see y'all soon.